Hey everyone, it's me, the Eagle, the reviewer slash reactor, whatever you want to call me. I'm back, and you can see I've shaved a little bit. Actually, that was a while ago. I kind of shaved ever since I made the video going over the trailer for Fast X. I know it was kind of laggy. I'll have to fix that later on. But hey, thanks for coming back. And now it's time to talk about Fast X. I kind of waited a bit until I assumed everyone has seen it by now. The movie's been out for about a month, I'd say. So I think it's a good time we can start talking about it now and actually discussing the scenes. Obviously, not all the scenes are released online yet, so I'm not going to refer to them. But when I talk to previous scenes, you should know what I'm talking about. Let's get started. All right. So the opening of the movie, we start off with the beginning of, or the train scene from Fast Five. That's where we begin with, right? And it was done. They probably just reused the same old footage, maybe some other scenes or angles we hadn't seen before. So they could just reuse that. Plus, they could have added new footage by revisiting that same scene again, and then adding Jason Momoa's character Dante, who we previously didn't see before. So it's interesting. We got to see that side of it. Yeah. And after that, really, we kind of went right into Fast Six. Of course, we saw little Brian sitting in the car and then learning to drift, of course, stuff like that. And then Dom gives a really nice talk about fatherhood to Han, about what it truly means when they come back to the family barbecue. I like how the family barbecue is at the beginning of the movie. See, every movie needs a family barbecue, whether they get toast and fire in the beginning or the end. It doesn't really matter. You need a barbecue scene in the movie. I think it served better to be in the beginning, um, because it just worked out better. Because the ending, we'll get to it. You know why the barbecue scene had to happen in the beginning of the movie. In the middle doesn't really make sense because you're in the middle of the action. You gotta either do it at the beginning or the end. And for most of the movies, I think in the ninth one, it also happened in the beginning, right? I think the barbecue scene in the beginning. I don't remember if it was in the end, but I believe it was in the beginning. Yeah, but all the other ones like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, a couple of those, they didn't. But it's always been at the end. But it served better to be at the beginning. And the first time we got to see Dom's mom, I'm assuming, yeah, it was Dom's mom, who we'd never seen before. No reference, no mentions, but there she was. She's in the Fast family now. So yeah, and then we learned that Rome is where the Fast family is headed, right? So Roman Pierce is leading the mission there, right? Because he's being the leader. And it's funny because, he's always the thing is he's more so the comic relief type of character, right? He went from being like a serious just normal guy with actually a lot of interesting qualities to just being the comic relief guy. I don't know if the fans are happy about this change, obviously since he's from Too Fast to Furious, and then later until he saw him then. So I don't know if the fans were happy about that, but I actually thought it's not too bad. I kind of like his character at home, and then with Han coming back, I like how in the ninth movie they didn't really explain how he came back. It was literally just Mr. Nobody saying, I've done better," but we're like, how though? Though how exactly? And I've seen like Ryan George's pitch meeting like specifically addressing that, and I'm like, yeah, that's one thing I was thinking. Like, okay, when I saw him, I was like, okay, Han, he's back, and I'm like, how is he back? And then the ninth one, they're like, well, he's back, because we've seen that multiple times, right? That scene where Han died in the car, right? We saw it in Tokyo Drift, then we got a better viewing of it in Furious 7, and then in the ninth one, we revisited that, still no answer. He's just back. But like how? Mr. Nobody knew that was it Shaw? Shaw was after him? Yeah. So I'm like, okay, but how did he faked his death. Let's just leave it at that. Okay, fine. And he's back. Han is back in Fast X. And I wanted to see more of his character, and he kind of does develop a bit more. See, this movie is going all around the place, right? You got this, then this, then this. So, yeah. But it was nice seeing Han back, and him, and then they gave Han a dating profile. That was really interesting, and yeah. So then Rome is where the Fast family goes. So Roman Tej leads them. So Roman takes them to Rome, and then we realize that it's a fake mission. The mission is bogus, right? And I believe it was Little Nobody, right, who told them that it's a fake mission, and they realized. And I like it. It was so weird. What the not only people haven't addressed right is how did Dom get to Rome so fast? I'm pretty sure. Okay, maybe Roman and Tej and all those people, they took their time to get to Rome. But how did Dom get to Rome so quickly? I get it was just to drive the plot forward to show that it was a bogus mission, but they got to Rome like that. I don't know, did it take like a private jet or something with little nobody? Like they just got there immediately, you know? It was so interesting. But anyway, they're there, and then eventually they realize that the mission is bogus, and then we see Dante for the first time. He called little nobody Captain America, which is really funny. So I think they're addressing that all the stuff that we all take Marvel DC stuff might be also within their universe, or if they're actually gonna cross over with the Marvel universe. I don't even know at this point what's gonna happen, but we'll see. We'll see for sure. And so yeah, that happens. And then basically there's a big ball in Rome, which is going to explode. It's a bomb, right? Yeah, it's a bomb. A bomb. I like how Ryan George is talking about the Fast X between. He's like, they're gonna play Rocket League in Rome, and I'm like, of course they did. Yeah, so because we've seen that in the trailer, right? When and that was all planned out. That's what makes Dante such a good villain, in my opinion. You know, he's coordinated, calculated. He's cold. He's planned everything out. Literally everything is going in his way, and he knows that okay, if this backfires, at least I might have some backup plan. Which is what I was thinking to make Fast X interesting. I think if you're gonna end it out, you want to end it out with a strong villain, and I feel like Dante just hits close to home. Jason Momoa had so much fun playing this character. I could tell like he was just having fun. Like every scene, he stole it. The character was having so much fun, kind of like the Joker people are saying. He was laughing in every scene, and he was more so carefree. He didn't really complain or yell at, my plans are getting ruined. So he wasn't the most serious character I've seen, but he was pretty serious in some moments. But most of the time in the beginning, he's like, Bonjour, Roma. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. One thing that's interesting to me is anytime Jason Momoa needs a vehicle, it's always there. He needs a car, boom, it spawns right there. Motorcycle, boom, right there. I'm like, how? And he just has the keys to drive it and everything. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Let him have his fun. So yeah, so he does that. And then basically, what happens? Letty, she gets arrested, and then the Dom's crew's blamed for the attack on Rome, and then we see all the news people saying that it was their fault. I don't think anything measured severe casualties because then it would look bad on their side. But I'm like, I think it would have been better if someone actually died. It would have added more to the stake, to the impact. You know, it would have kind of made it more believable. You know, because realism is something that the Fast and Furious universe doesn't care about anymore. No physics, no laws, no gravity, just nothing exists at this point. It's whatever they want to do. Dom's basically like, I thought at the end he's going to transform into like Thor or Superman or something and fly away. I'm like, I actually believe that. I'm like, when is he going to do that? Is he going to like grow like in the Mario movie? Like Mario just grew super big? I'm like, what's going to happen, man? But we'll get to that later. Anyway, let's take a quick break, y'all. And I just want to say thank you guys for watching this video. I'm gonna make more of these videos, I promise sure. I just really haven't had the time. But it's summer, and for my summer movies, it was probably just some things I checked out or wanted to check out at least was Fast X. It was one of them. There are a couple other movies like Across the Spider Verse, Guardians 3, those types of things. So if there are other movies you all want to talk about, definitely. And I'm gonna definitely talk about some past movies that have already came out because there are a bunch of them, a bunch of movies that I've seen before that I really really like. So yeah. Anyway, let's keep it going. All right, back to the movie. So yeah, so Letty got arrested, and then we see what's his name? I'm gonna call him the agency guy because I can't really remember his name. His name is so forgettable, but I just like to call him the agency guy because they're always talking about the agency, the agency. I like how in the pitch meeting manager's like, which agency though? I'm like, I know what they're talking about, but I like if they keep on referring to the agency because it clearly tells that the writers didn't come up with a name for the agency. That's why they always refer to the agency, which is really funny. Anyway, so yeah, actually, let me look up his name. Fast X agency guy name because I want to make sure I get it right. I think the actor was also in the Superman and Lois TV show, I believe. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's Alan Richardson. I knew that was the actor, but I forgot his name. Ames. Ames. That's really funny. Yeah. He was in what? What else was he in? He was in Fast X. He was in quite some other stuff. I believe. Oh, okay. He's been in quite a lot of stuff actually. He was in the Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. Yeah, he was in Supergirl. Yeah, I don't remember him in Supergirl though. Hmm. Yeah, but he's been in shows and movies and TV. Anyway, so back to this topic though. Yeah, definitely an interesting character to see, and basically we learned that Mr. Nobody has a daughter. Tess. So everybody's wondering Tess, who's going to be played by Brie Larson, was going to be Paul Walker's sister, the actor Brian's sister. But instead, they came out saying that no, that's not who she is. She's Mr. Nobody's daughter. And I would like to know, y'all, if you want to let me know in the comments down below, which one do you think is better? For her to be Mr. Nobody's daughter or Paul Walker, Brian's sister? You know, because I feel like I know everybody wanted her to be Brian's sister, but I feel like because she's Paul Walker's daughter, she has that that spyness sort of technique into her. She can get in and out of places versus if she's Brian's sister. I feel like even though Brian was a cop, she might still have access to things. But I guess because they made her like that, I don't know. It's whatever. Her character was super duper interesting. Of course, she got the Dom, and then she was like, "Hey, the agency's coming at you with everything they've got, because of all the stuff that happened." And then he's like, "I need to get in touch with my crew members. I need to get Lil Brian to safety. I need Letty to get out of the prison." And then she was like, "Okay, the last one is gonna be really, really hard for me because I know that's a really hard favor for her to do, and it is a really hard thing for her to do. I can understand that, breaking someone out, but we'll get to that later." Anyway, so the team, right? They have to all go undercover, right? And they basically do their own thing. I'm not gonna talk about the team too much because I feel like we didn't see a lot of the team. See, I think we realized that this movie wasn't gonna end with an absolute result ending because the plot kind of slowed down. The team was just on the side, just doing their own thing, just walking around, just doing their own stuff. Hans being there, and then Roman, Tej. He just has a lot of money. That's why he's acting so carefree. It's really funny. Of course, we have special cameos, guest stars, things like that. Like last time we had Cardi B break Dom out of prison. I thought that was gonna happen again, but apparently it didn't. So yeah. But anyway, the team does their own thing, but eventually they realize that the agency is hiring people that anyone who can find information about them will be rewarded. So they realize the only place that they can go undercover at this point is with the one and only Shaw. So we meet Shaw, and it's kind of the same scene where it started off from Fast X. I feel like when Justin Lin wanted to direct this movie, he wanted Han to get justice. But ever since I think Louis Leterrier or something like that, his name was, he's what, French? I think he directed the Incredible Hulk movie. I know that, yeah. Ever since he came around, I don't think it was mainly about Han getting justice. They just wanted all the bad things behind them at this point, not really try to address them. Maybe they'll address them in the later movies, but I think in this one, we see him come in there, and then Han and Shaw fight. I feel like maybe if Han definitely wanted to actually fight, he clearly could have won. But Shaw was like, "Okay, dead guys at my door. They want revenge." And I'm like, "Okay, see, that's the problem, though, right? They made Shaw their ally, but then Shaw killed Han. So I'm like, how are they going to address that?" And then I like how Roman is like, "You are not to be trusted with," but I'm like, dude, you all literally chilled out at a family barbecue in Fate of the Furious, and then you're like, "Dude, you cannot be trusted." I'm like, choose a side, man. He was laughing and chilling at the family barbecue at the end of the Fate of the Furious, but now he's like, "No, you can't be trusted anymore." And then I'm like, even Hobbs and Shaw didn't really clear his name out or anything, so I'm like, I guess I'm not really gonna see that carefree kind of like, "Oh, okay, you're one of us now" kind of guy we saw at the end of Fate of the Furious family barbecue. Well, whatever. And then he's like, "You ain't on my Christmas list either," and I'm like, "Okay, bro, whatever." And so yeah, and uh, then Shaw realized that his mom might also be targeted, so I think he's just dipping. He's leaving now. But I really want to see them work together at this point. I want to see Shaw do some actual stuff with the team. That'd be really cool to see. So anyway, that's that. So now let's get back to Letty. So Tess goes, and then she fakes that she's trying to stab her. Then she goes into the medical area, and then that's where we meet Cypher, who kind of told Dom at the beginning that Dante's coming for him. And then they fight a little bit, then they break out. Then she realizes she's in Antarctica, and then yeah, and she's like, "Oh shoot." And then I think Cypher gives it like a code or something, and then they walk outside. So that's basically what happens with that. Anyway, Dom. What's happening with Dom? Let's focus on this side of the story now. So Dom basically goes to Rio because that's where, because that is where Dante is. I feel like, um, Alan Richardson's character would have known that Dom was going to Rio since he was working with Dante, so he probably would have known that that's where Dante was. But I guess they wanted to make that sort of. They didn't want us to reveal the plot twist yet, so they kind of want to act like he has no idea what's going on either. Or maybe he just didn't tell him. He's just like, let's play along so no one gets suspicious of our plans yet. So he goes to Rio, and then Dante obviously wants to race Dom. So then they race, and then we meet Elena's sister. She is also like a really good racer down there. And then we meet another guy, and then so they race in Rio. Apparently everyone's on Dom's side, because that's the thing. Like when you're the man of the streets, the racer, the one with the family and everything, everybody's gonna be on your side. Just having that strong presence just really works out for you, I guess. So then they race, and I knew Dante was gonna win. It's like I'm racing the great Dominic Toretto, but then he's like, I've studied you for years, and I'm like, the one thing that makes you lose is family. And I'm like, bro, that took you 10 years to realize that? I like how they make a joke out of that in Fast X, though. So anyway, Dante, he's there, and then, obviously he wins the race, and then I think one of the car explodes. I forgot the name of the guy who was in it. It was a green car, I'm pretty sure. And then Dom tries to save Lena's sister again. I forgot her name. But then there was still a bomb on that, but he was able to save her, because they couldn't really have her die. I get why Dom chose her. Like, we understand why. But it was a very, very hard choice for him to make. And so Dante wins, and then he's just gone, I guess. Yeah, and then he kind of tries to save Elena's sister. He realizes that she's his sister, and then he basically leaves. Um, but yeah. And then let's talk about what's happening with Brian. So Brian, he's in Mia's house. They're playing like Nintendo, I think Mario Kart or something. Right? I think that's what they're playing. And then I like how he refers back to the quote from the first movie that Dom gave to Brian, which was like, it doesn't matter if you win by an inch or mile, winning is winning. He says that to me, little Brian does. So it's like, oh, where'd you hear that? That was really fun and really nice callback. And then after that, they realize that the agency's after them. So then Uncle Jacob, he comes in, and then I like how Ryan George talks about this as well. He's like, in the previous movie, he was very serious, and now he's the fun uncle. He takes little Brian and they go for a little road trip, so that he can meet up with his father at the rendezvous point. I always wonder, what is the rendezvous point? Like, where they're trying to meet up, because the Fast X, the team members, the Fast teamers, they're doing their own thing. Dom is just globe trotting everywhere, doing his own thing, and then there's Jacob trying to go another place. I'm like, what is the rendezvous point? I guess I don't get it. They're all doing different stuff, and of course, Dom's also trying to reach out to Mr. Nobody, so he talked to Queenie about it, and I don't know how that's gonna work. Where is Mr. Nobody? They really want to see him. There's no way he's hiding low under all of this. He's acting a little like Nick Fury in the Fast X universe. So yeah, that happens. And then, oh yeah, so eventually Dante's able to get a hold of Dom's son, and then the Fast X team members, I think they fly by, right? But then I think like their engine or something blows up or something. I don't know. So we don't know what's gonna happen with them. And then Dom's able to rescue his son, but then they're just driving down like this, and then a lot of like fire and water just happening, and yeah, and then we don't know what's gonna happen to Dom and his son. So that basically ends with that, and we don't know what's gonna happen to his team members either. But everyone's gonna live. Everyone's gonna be fine. It's Fast and Furious, bro. Yes, Uncle Jacob did die, because they're doing a lot of Fast and Furious racing. But hey, it'll all work out for all of them. No one really dies. I mean, they brought Han back. They brought Letty back. It was only a matter of time until we saw Letty and Cypher walking, and then see none other than Giselle just walking out, just like, I'm alive. Of course she's alive, man. I mean, I guess it was the director who really wanted Giselle's character to come back, because they can't end the Fast and Furious without her. I'm like, okay, but how did she die? We literally saw her death. There's no way that she's still alive. But there's no way, but whatever. What can we do at this point? We can't really complain. So she's alive, yeah. And then the movie ends, of course, with a cliffhanger. I knew it. I was telling you all, I was going over the trailer. I don't think it's going to end with a family barbecue, because it's a two-parter. Now it's a three-parter, I think, right? Because it's like, just one more. Just one more. So it's like, okay, just one more. You know, I'm like, bruh. Whatever, it is what it is. Anyway, in the post credit scene, well, taking the mid credit scene, finally we get Dwayne Johnson back. And I'm like, okay, I thought he wasn't gonna come back. But of course, Black Adam tanked, failed at the box office. They spent way too much money on merchandising, I think. Anyway, so I think the director was able to get Dwayne Johnson and Vin Diesel to come to an agreement. Of course, they didn't share any scenes together, and neither did they in the Fate of the Year. So I wonder if they'll share scenes later on. But anyway, they're together, and of course, Dante's after him because. Okay. Anyway, so that happens, and then the post-credit scene, we see Dwayne Johnson. He's there, of course, in the post-credit scene. So they're able to get things worked out, and then he's there, and then Dante was like, Dom took the money, but you shot my father, so I'm mad at you, even though I kind of liked him. And then he's like, alright, yeah, I'm a lawman. And then the movie ends. I think Dante's gonna come after him. He might do some other stuff. I think he wants to make his own movie instead of Hobbs Shaw 2, but we'll see what happens. And that's it, y'all. That's what happens in Fast X. I thought it was alright. Not great, maybe like a 6 or 7 out of 10, but that's kind of being generous, I guess. We'll see what happens from there anyway. Thank you all for watching. I'll see y'all next time.